It's almost May, which means for a lot of areas you can start and plant out your more tender crops. One of those being French beans. We grow lots and lots of French beans every year because we blanch and freeze them for later use as well. So I've just picked up a couple of packs of pre-grown ones. And this variety is called Blue Lake, and it's the climbing one. So they can reach heights of 7 to 10 feet in ideal conditions. You can also get bush versions as well if you want to do them in a small container. So I bought a couple of packs of these. One thing about your beans is you want to make sure that while they're growing they don't completely dry out. This one has been in the garden centre and there's parts of it that's not been watered properly, so some of these are starting to shrivel up a little bit, but once we get them planted we'll be fine. This particular variety is also resistant to mosaic virus as well. So we've put a structure in place just outside the caravan and I'll show you where we're going to plant them. So just over here you can see where we put that piece of fencing up, and that's what we're going to use to grow these beans up. That'll offer them plenty of support and they'll be going in those grey tubs down there. They're not huge tubs, but they'll be big enough. And as always, lots of holes in bottom. You need to keep the plants moist, but also you need to make sure they've got good drainage. So we'll get some compost in these containers and we'll get this French beans started. As always, I'm just using regular multi-purpose compost. And we've got one or two big lumps in there. We'll get those broke up. I'm just leaving a couple of inches from the top. We don't want water tipping over when we water it. I'm just taking a few of these little stones out as well. Let's just take one of these plants out and see what the root system's like. These are definitely ready to come out. Loads of roots in bottom. So just carefully take some out. They're definitely ready to go. You can see that the roots are twisting all around bottom. So as always, loosen those off. So I'm going to make a deep hole at the back of this container. That way it'll be easier for these beans to grow up that piece of fence we've put in place. And then we've got all this room to maybe plant something else, like radish or something like that. When you space them around 3 inches apart. Ideally that's for single plants, and of course these have been multi-sown. As you can see there's 5 plants in the same area, but I'm not going to separate them. We'll just plant them as they are and see how they get on. So pushing it in to around about the same depth it was previously. Then on to his next one. That one freed all roots off as it came out, so that can go straight in. And I think I'll just do 2 more. So once again, loosening off those roots, and then straight in. And we're on to his last one. So that's one of his containers set up. Now we need to make sure we give them a good watering, because you can see the leaves are wilting already. We'll give them really good soaking. And then we can take them back and put them in place. So there you go, that's his first batch of French beans all set up. I'll do that other box this afternoon, and then we've got 2 containers on the way. But you can plant them a little bit later if you want to, because French beans aren't cold hardy at all, and they definitely don't tolerate frost. So if you put them outside and you get a frost, the leaves are going to discolour, and there's a very good chance those plants will die. So go onto a web page called Garden Focused and type in your postcode, and that will tell you when your last frost date is, so you know that your beans are going to be perfectly safe. But as always, when I go to garden centre, I find it very difficult to buy just one thing. So I've got a few things here that I'm going to show you. I did get some more of these tumbling tom tomato plants. I think I got another 5 or so, and that'll be enough for us for the entire season. And again, you can see that it's wilting, and that's because it's not been watered properly. But I can do them all at once, because I use one of these. Perfect for bottom watering, so I can stand all of those in there, put a couple of inches of water in, and let it take the water front bottom, which is the best way to water your plants. And obviously we're doing it all at the same time, so that's the next job for today. But before I get started with anything else, I'll show you what else I've picked up. I also bought another tomato plant. This one has actually got yellow bin leaves on bottom, which a lot of time is a sign of overwatering, but it's very light, so I just don't think it's that. I think it's that these leaves have passed the best. But it's another cherry tomato plant, and it's called Sweet and Neat. Often referred to as a tabletop tomato plant as well, but these are smaller than the tumbling toms. These plants only reach 10 inches or so in height, so it's a very small, compact, determinate tomato plant. But if you look on the top there, hopefully you can see that, it's already starting to get flowers on it. So we need to get these potted on as soon as possible. But I just decided I wanted to try one of these. And you can probably get these in a yellow variety as well, because it does say Sweet and Neat red on the label. But I also picked up some peppers as well. And this is a sweet pepper, and it's called Popti. Never heard of those, so I thought I'll give them a try. It's not a bad looking plant at all. It's already got a couple of sets of true leaves. So that, once again, can be potted on as soon as I'm ready to do it. They will stand in these containers for quite a bit longer if needs be. But because peppers need such a long growing season, I'd like to get it potted on as soon as. And again, I've bought about 5 of those. The peppers that we've got growing outside are still doing okay. They're very small though, and when I see peppers for sale at a garden centre, I will buy a few, just in case anything goes wrong. And especially since all these plants were only $1.49 each, so it's hardly breaking bank when you consider how much fruit you do get from them. I also spotted one of these as well. These are the ones that we grew last year, and they're a yellow sweet pepper, and they're called Mohawk, and they did really well. Got quite a lot of fruit off them. But this year when I do the peppers, I'm going to put them in bigger containers, because we put one of these in a bigger container than we did the red ones last year. And although we did get some fruit off them, the one in the bigger container gave us quite a bit more. So that's the plan this year. We'll have fewer pepper plants, but in bigger containers. But I didn't stop there, because I saw one of these plants, and it's called Mini Petita, and it's a cucumber plant, and you get little cucumbers off it, around 4 inches or so. They're perfect, because at least that way when you harvest your cucumbers, you're not throwing half of it away because it's a really big one. We don't eat a lot of cucumber, so it's nice to just go and pick one whenever you want, knowing that there's very little chance that you're going to waste any. and that again is a really healthy looking plant. But cucumbers are also very susceptible to cold. Even a cold wind can cause this plant to just fall over in its pot. So again, these need to be kept in a greenhouse, propagator, or indoors just until it warms up a little bit. So we've got quite a collection of plants ready to be potted on this week. And of course, we've got that decking that's been sorted out actually right now. But it's not quite finished yet, but I'll give a look at it as soon as it is. And hopefully we can get some balcony pots on there as well. Just one last thing before I go though. If you plant your French beans, be very wary of slugs. They will destroy your plants in a matter of a day or so. They're just completely devastating. You'll end up with just stems sticking out of the ground with no leaves on them whatsoever. So if you use slug pellets, put some around your plants, or anything that's quite rough, like bits of bark and things, and it'll help deter those slugs quite a bit. I think one year I surrounded base with olive leaves and that worked, but not everybody has got access to those. So whichever way you do it, just keep your eyes on those plants. We don't want to be growing plants, getting them all set up, and then watching them get destroyed by slugs. Anyway, thank you very much for being part of this channel. As always, I really do appreciate it. And if you want to see what else we're going to be planting in that lead up to May, then please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I'll see you very soon. Take care.